Let's go, girls. Big smiles and rockin' tunes and epic drinks. Dutch Bros Coffee is all about you. Our broistas are here to whip up a variety of customizable, handcrafted beverages like our Rebel Yell energy drinks, coffees, teas, lemonades, sodas, and more. Download the Dutch Bros app to order ahead and start earning rewards. Sign up now and your first drink is on us. Get up early, stay up late, and change the world with Dutch Bros. Which college programs do I think are doing the best on the recruiting trail for the class of 2026? Yep. And I'll now turn it over to you because you had some questions.
So which ones are doing the best?
Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, you're just gonna make me talk the whole time, I guess. That's fine. I'm just kidding.
I'm wondering, there's 13. Surely we just got through 2025, putting a stamp on those. Those kids are already getting into those colleges, but recruiting's what have you done for me lately, right? And everyone's already looking over to 2026. So Mallory, who's a school that you're just looking at their class and there's a long way to go, but you're liking where they're set up right now?
Yeah, it's very early. Obviously, early National Signing Day isn't until December, so a lot of things can happen. I mean, recruiting changes like that, I've learned. You know, you could record one video one day and then 5 minutes later, it's old irrelevant news. Now. It's old news because kids, you know, they'll decommit or coaching changes will happen. You know, it's just that time of year to really, you got to keep your eye on it constantly or you're going to miss something, right? So far in the class of 2026, I think that I like the Baylor Bears. Yeah. So
when you say you like the Baylor Bears, who's your favorite prospect that Baylor has right now?
Okay, so I have two, but I'm only going to talk a short amount of time about them. They both kind of correlate in the same way, but I want to talk about London Smith first. The wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver out of Waco University. And funny enough, Powers and Ish were actually going to go watch him play in person this past season. Waco U played Lampasas, which was a great game for prospects all around. I mean, Lampasas had some dudes, Waco U had some dudes, but we got word on the way there that London Smith was actually out due to injury.
He only played 6 games last year. And you can see his huddle tape here right now. But that doesn't take away from the kind of just all-out athlete that this guy is. So I don't think this commitment really came as a surprise to me and to other people. One, he's staying at home, right? He gets to play a couple minutes. He gets to play college ball at the P4 level a couple of minutes away from his hometown, right? And his dad, Rodney Smith, was a 3-year starter at safety for Baylor back in the 90s. Also, his mom was the 1999 triple jump champion at Baylor.
Yeah, so obviously, he's just a great athlete.
Yeah, how did this guy become so good at football, I wonder?
I know, seriously. It's kind of like the perfect marriage between the two, right? Like, he's just an all-out athlete. But he's 6 foot, 175-pound frame. He chose Baylor over big-time programs like Texas A&M, Alabama, Oregon, a couple more of those. He's been a starter on varsity since his freshman season and kind of just possessed that natural skill set from early on. I think that's why he was getting a lot of early looks from these colleges and why Baylor was able to jump in on him pretty early because he just possessed that natural skill set that you look for at the next level guy, right? He did really well this season, 132 catches for 2,102 yards and 22 touchdowns. I think it's pretty safe to say that he might be one of the best receivers in the class of 2026.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so
I watched some of his tape and I could agree with that.
Yeah, he's very elusive. I just really, really like him as an athlete. So
the second one you said correlates to London Smith. How does it correlate?
It correlates because they were able to keep another 4-star at home. And that's Jamarian Vincent out of Waco Connolly. He's also a 4-star and he chose Baylor over programs like Texas, Houston, Kansas State, and a couple others. And here's what I love about this too. So Waco Connolly, they've produced some cornerbacks here and there over the past couple years.
Kobe Black was from there,
I was going to say, does Kobe Black ring a bell to you? Who's now at Texas? I actually wrote his cover boy story in the magazine 2 years ago. Something like that. So I actually got to talk to him. Really good, really great guy, but he's killing it at Texas, of course. But Jamarian Vincent kind of bursted onto this scene as a sophomore, and he's a baller. He's an athlete. He plays corner, of course, and quarterback. So he's playing both ways there at Waco Connolly. Obviously very athletic. He stands at 6'2", 165 pounds, but he is a guy to watch there at Waco Connolly, and it was massive for Baylor to keep both of these two guys at home.
You know, Waco Connolly does that because Kavian Gaither, the Sam Houston linebacker, was a Connolly graduate. He played quarterback too, and safety there. So they just put their best athlete there.
They really
QB.
do.
And I'm looking at the stats. He ran for 1,100 yards, passed for 818, and then had 8 pass breakups. Does this guy ever come off the field?
Not really. And that's kind of what you look for, you know, and those guys. So really, really pumped to see Baylor kind of keep those two guys at home and seeing this recruiting class kind of burst onto the scene like that.
So those are the two headliners. Who's someone that people just aren't talking about enough from the Baylor Bears?
Okay, we'll go quarterback. Quinn Murphy out of Argyle Liberty Christian. Now, just a quick side note here. I think we have released, maybe not yet. We've released our top 10 quarterback rankings for the class of 2026. Powers and I did. We actually recorded a short video over them yesterday.
That video is up on YouTube.
That video is up on YouTube. You can look at the full article on texasfootball.com/recruiting, and then you can look at player profiles and rankings. We've got all that stuff up right now. Quinn Murphy checking in as the 10th quarterback in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. And obviously watching his tape, it's easy to see why. So he was actually at Austin Regents before coming to Argyle Liberty Christian and playing under the famous Jason Witten.
Who's that? I'm just kidding.
He passed for 2,183 yards and totaled 32 touchdowns. This obviously giving him second team TAPS Division I, District I honors.
Wait, did you say 43 touchdowns and 3 interceptions? I saw that on his stat sheet.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. We have him rated as a 3-star. He's committed to Baylor. Obviously, like I just said, and he's found a lot of success, obviously, at the private school ranks. Argyle Liberty Christian is one of those schools, too, that always seems to be in the conversation, at least the past couple of years, in the conversation of state championships. And that's because Quinn Murphy is a winner. I mean, this team is loaded anyways, but Quinn Murphy there being kind of the quarterback and being like the, I guess, quarterbacking the team.
He's not
the
just
captain
a game
of
manager,
the team.
though.
He's right.
You know what I mean?
Right. No, I'm not saying that.
No, I know that's what you're saying. You're saying he's not a game manager. He's a winner. Like, of course, their team's loaded, but it's not like he's just dinking and dunking.
No.
You watch his tape and he's rolling around, juking guys out, like shows a lot of functional athleticism.
Well, and here's the thing, too, is I was talking to Powers about it yesterday. He was saying to me that when you watch his tape, yeah, it's impressive, but you got to go out there and actually see him in person because you don't see how tight those balls that he can throw. That doesn't really translate all over huddle tape, right? I think you really got to see him in person to see that. He gets the ball out really quick.
You can't hear it whiz on the huddle tape.
No, you cannot. You cannot. Usually there's music over the huddle tape, right? So you can't hear that. But and then he also gives his receivers just super catchable balls. So his receivers love him. He's well coached. He's going to be a winner at Baylor. I really think this is going to be the future for the Baylor Bears.
Okay, you heard it here first on Women Talking Football. Quinn Murphy is the future. So I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Who are some official visits that you're excited for?
All right. Let me pull it up. Okay. Let's see.
It's official visit season.
It is. So speaking of Temple and Temple's defense, Jamarian Carlton.
There we go.
Is taking an official visit to Baylor Friday, June 20th. So that would be another 4-star that they can kind of keep at home. Temple's kind of in that Waco area. I mean, it's not super close, but it's within the vicinity.
Baylor's on a roll in the 2025 class too.
Oh, yeah.
They've got so much momentum.
Right. I love KJ Edwards too, the running back at Carthage. I think Keenan Hall is a great recruiter and a great running backs coach at Baylor. I wouldn't be surprised if something's happening there. He also has an official visit scheduled to Texas as well. And then I know one of your favorites.
Who?
Donovan Webb.
Yeah. Love Donovan Webb.
Yeah. So we made him a 4-star in the 2026 rankings not too long ago. So we did a whole video about him, but just a couple of guys to keep your eyes on. Of course, nothing is set in stone. These are just official visits, but a lot of big names that they're able to at least get on campus and get eyes on the facilities and on the coaching staff and how the current team's playing.
And Donovan Webb has blown up. Like, he's got Ohio State offer, like a bunch of other Big Ten SEC offers, right? But Baylor was very early on him. I remember watching his recruitment as a sophomore, and Baylor offered him. And that was the first big-time offer I saw that Donovan Webb got. Like, oh, this guy's going to be special. So, and a lot of other schools came way late on Donovan Webb. Like, they were going to see Jalen Lott. And the Panther Creek coaches are like, can you come look at Donovan Webb, too? Yeah. And the coach would be like, how have we not heard about this guy? Like, this guy's unreal. So,
I know. Seriously.
Let's go to Houston now. Same questions. Who's your favorite prospect on the Houston Cougars? I think I know who the answer might be.
Really? Do you know?
He is the number one player on DCTF right now.
Yes. No surprise here. I think Houston's done a great job of their supporting cast as well. I think Willie Fritz has done a good job of kind of taking the program as his own and his kind of recruiting his own guys here, as you're seeing in the 2026 cycle. But you cannot mention the class of 2026 for Houston without talking about Keyshawn Henderson, the quarterback there at Houston Legacy. And this is going to be one of the most closely watched commitments in this next coming year, because we have him, like you said, rated as the number one overall player in the class of 2026. We have him rated as an athlete. We do not have him rated as a quarterback. Just want to make that clear. Just that quick side note. He committed to Houston super early, back in May of 2024. And the thing about him is, if you go on his profile, his Twitter profile, he shows a lot of love to Houston. A lot of love. So he was at the basketball game, the Houston Cougars basketball game, last week or a couple weeks ago or something like that. But he took a picture with the mayor.
They're doing the full court press.
Yeah, seriously.
Got the mayor out there taking pictures.
They literally are putting the full court press on Keyshawn Henderson. As expected.
A lot of people look at his recruitment from the outside. He's got so many offers. They're like, how is Houston going to keep him? But he shows a lot of love to Houston. And also his head coach, Michael Bishop at Legacy School of Sports Sciences, played under Willie Fritz.
Correct. Exactly. Well, and here's the thing I think that Keyshawn Henderson likes about Houston is, it's no secret Houston's been down the past couple of years, right? They're bringing in Connor Wigman to be kind of that immediate impact starter at quarterback. I think as a freshman, Keyshawn could start.
For sure. 100%.
And I think that makes this very attractive to him.
Yeah.
6'3", 185 pounds, very tall, very wiry, and just a true athlete. He's a dual threat. He's just as much of a threat as he is with his arm as he is with his legs. And he had a really dominant showing at the Navy All-American Bowl a couple of weeks ago, and he just earned his 5th star in the 247 rankings. He now ranks, he's the best player in Texas in 247 and the 2nd overall quarterback in the class of 2026 nationally on 247. So if Willie Fritz can keep this guy at home,
it'd be crazy.
This might change the trajectory for this program, I think. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, he's a program changing
He's a program changing type prospect, but got to keep him at home first. This is one that people are going to keep their eyes on.
So Keyshawn's obviously the headliner here, but who's an underrated guy that you're looking at Houston's has a commit right now that you're like, he could develop into something really special?
You want to talk some offensive line?
Do I? I love, Let's talk the O-line.
Let's do it. We'll talk about Port Neches Grove's interior offensive lineman, Aaron Wolford. He committed to play for Houston pretty recently, back in January, maybe middle of February or something like that. But he chose Houston over in-state programs like Baylor, SMU, Texas Tech, had an offer from Purdue as well, and a couple of others. Just a big-bodied offensive lineman. 6'4", 290 pounds. He's just an absolute menace on the offensive front there.
He and Jackson Christian, who's now at Texas,
correct,
were the stalwarts of the offensive line, which was honestly the strengths of the Port Neches Groves football team coming off that state championship victory. they were unproven in skill positions, but their offensive line, they're like, games are won up front, and would they go like, I know they didn't make it back to state, but they were very good last year. And Jackson Christian and Aaron Wolford were both first-team All-District offensive linemen.
Oh, definitely. Well, and I think one of the things that Houston likes about Aaron Wolford
12-2.
12-2, right. Is that he's just he's flexible on the offensive line, right? So he has experience playing at tackle, but most likely he'll probably slide inside and play as a guard, but he's got that flexibility that I think a lot of coaches are now looking for in big body of offensive linemen like that. So really excited to see if I think that Port Neches Groves is pretty close to the Houston area. I think that they're going to be able to keep him at home, but I think that's just a super intriguing commitment that might be flying a little bit under the radar.
And honestly, I would bet if you looked at high D1 level offensive linemen that are guards and centers, like they played tackle in high school.
No,
like
absolutely.
Jake Majors, when at Prosper, he was a center at Texas. He played tackle in high school. I know a lot of other dudes like that transition to the inside, but left tackle, right tackle, that's where you put your best offensive lineman a lot of the time.
100%. The more versatile you are, the more attractive you are, I'd say.
All right, let's go to official visits to monitor for the Houston Cougars.
Official visits. Okay. Speaking of Temple again, Jason Bradford.
Temple episode.
Jason Bradford, Thursday, June 19th. He'll be taking an official visit to Houston. I'm kind of just looking at the list here. How about Jermaine Bishop? Out of Willis.
One of the most electric players in Texas high school football.
Very electric, fast, speedy, a lot of different skill sets to get at his name, but love him as well. And they've already got a couple of other commits, too, that I really like. Yaheem Riley out of Austin LBJ. We've been following him for a couple of years now. But, yeah, just a list full of dudes.
Yeah.
I think there are 5 total commitments here in the class of 2026 for the Houston Cougars. Kevon Roberts, which we actually talked about on Dave Campbell's Rising when we previewed Port Arthur Memorial. Aaron Wolford, Keyshawn Henderson, Yaheem Riley, and Xavier Fleming. They're out of Louisville.
Houston, in 1 year under Willie Fritz, went from 14th in the Big 12 recruiting class, like 4th in the Big 12 in the recruiting class. So it's a shout out to Willie Fritz and Wes Fritz and Casey Smithson there in the player personnel department. I think they do a really good job of scouting talent.
I think so too. And again, it's still really early. We're really, really early in this 2026 recruiting cycle. But
after we release this video, fingers crossed.
And you know what? With our luck, it probably will happen.
Probably.
But there you go. There's a quick inside look to the class of 2026 and how the Texas college programs are looking so far in this early recruiting cycle.